I'm going to ask everybody to just briefly close your eyes and take one deep breath. I do that because I need there to not be me and you right now. I need there to be us. So that was really for me because you just get to sit there right now. I want to give a slight trigger warning. I'm going to talk about mental health in the workplace. So I have learned when I talk about this topic, and by the way, I've never given this talk before, so bear with me. But I've learned that when I talk about mental health, it can bring up difficult topics or difficult thoughts for any individual. So if there's something that might end up resonating inside you in a difficult way, this is just a little bit of heads up that, some good deep breathing, and you can also just raise your hand and talk about it, or you can flee, or you can just breathe. So that's just a little heads up. And remember, we're all human, so however you feel, we all feel. It's important I know where you are because I don't want to talk at you, especially in this room. This is not a presentation. This is a conversation. This is us. It's me just sharing some information. So let me tell you how I want to do this survey. I'll give you the instructions first. So don't do anything yet. What I'm going to ask you to do, it's an anonymous survey. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to raise one of your hands. Doesn't have to be super high, just here. Then I'm going to ask you a question, give you some instruction, and then don't open your eyes until I tell you. That way I can do some counting, and it's truly an anonymous survey. Okay, go ahead. Close your eyes and raise one hand somewhere up. That's good, thank you. Okay, this is the question, and please keep your eyes closed. Have you personally struggled with a mental health challenge? Either a diagnosed mental health challenge or just one where you struggle with some aspect of your mental health. If you have, please put your hand down. If you haven't, please keep your hand up. Everybody, please keep your eyes closed. Great, now if everybody would put their hands down and now open your eyes. Okay, very helpful for me to know where we are. One more quick survey, you could keep your eyes open. If you identify as human, raise your hand. Good, let me do some counting. Okay, we're good. Hands down. So the good news is we have a lot of common ground. Now, you all identify as human, and what I know, but you don't know because I did it anonymously, is we have also a tremendous amount of common ground with a mental health struggle. Role modeling matters. Everyone in this room is a conscious leader. I'm striving to be. So let me do a little role modeling, and tell you a few things. I've had several panic attacks over the years. They're scary. They often happen at night. Started in my late 20s. Had one when I was on a business trip in China, all alone. Really scary. First time I had a panic attack, I was sure I was going to die. I've got an eating disorder. I struggle with obsessive negative thoughts when it comes to my decisions and my choices about food. I think about food and my failures obsessively to the point that it can disrupt me focusing on what I want to focus on. It ranges from annoying to just substantially unproductive to this opportunity cost of what else I wish I were talking about or thinking about, but I'm thinking about food and failing. I've got body dysmorphia, and so along with these negative obsessive thoughts, when I see myself, I don't see what you see, and there are aspects of myself that I hate. I also have tennis elbow. I've been playing a lot of pickleball. And both of my pinky toes curl under just a little bit. My grandmother had these toes, my siblings have these toes, and that's my list. And you know what? So what? By the way, the list goes on. I had a traumatic brain injury 3 years ago, had a concussion, damaged the brain, physical damage, and then the depression that sets in related to the post-concussion journey. A headache for 3 years. The list goes on. I have a list. You have a list. We all have a list. So what? It's just our list. Physical, mental, where we are, how we feel. It's our list. It's just me. Why is it hard to talk about? It isn't hard to talk about. Why is it hard to hear? Doesn't have to be hard to hear, but it's just not taught. Because we're business people, right? And so we think about business, we focus on business. So let's talk about some numbers. These numbers look great, right? If we were capitalists, I mean, look, if these were the numbers of Raj's book sales, we would be killing it here. But no surprise, that's not what these numbers are. Over 2 decades, the suicide rate up by 1/3. I know the media wants to tell us that we have a murder problem in the US. By the way, we have a murder problem in the US, but we have a suicide problem in the US. But nobody really likes to talk about it. It's easy to talk about murder, apparently, because that sort of happens to someone else. But suicide, oh no, that's mental health. Let's not talk about it. Anxiety disorders over 2 decades. This is in the general population. And this is diagnosed anxiety disorders. And if you look at the statistics, where do you think this number is after 2019, 2020, 2021? We're talking about 8 or 9% of the general US population. Which, by the way, that's who works for us, right? And that's who we are. Do the math. I can tell you how many of you have diagnosed anxiety or depression in the room. We can just use the statistics, right? We have a lot of common ground. Half of the counties in America don't have a psychiatrist. Sad, right? Now, this is one I'm hopeful on because telemedicine can really help us. And when you talk to the psychologists out there and you do the professional surveys they've done, they're overwhelmed and they can't keep up. We're business people, we like statistics, but let me try to bring it down to this level for us, okay? Let me just role play for a minute. I walk into work. You haven't seen me for a week. I come in on crutches. Good-looking crutches, because crutches are kind of cool. My knee's wrapped up in one of those sort of NFL-looking knee braces that Gronk wears on his arm, and I'm bandaged up, okay? And I come into my crutches. Here I am. And, you know, people say, oh, man, what happened? How are you? Oh, blew out my ACL, walking the dog. But I'm good. I got some pain meds. I got some PRP injections. If you don't know about PRP, it's great. Healthcare, I'll be better in no time. I've got a great orthopedist, man. I'm probably going to get surgery. I'll be back in no time. That's me limping along on my crutches. I should have kept limping while I was talking, but I forgot. Okay. You got the role play. Now, imagine me. You come into work. You also haven't seen me for a week. And what do you walk into? You walk into my office to check on me, and you just see this. I'm a mess. And you ask me how I am. And I say, I don't even know. I'm just like, I don't even know. So if those are the 2 things that happen at work, which one are we good at? We're good at talking to the guy on crutches who's got a visible ailment. He's good at talking about it, or she's good at talking about it. And it seems easy. But you walk into someone's office and they are mentally or emotionally distressed. We're not good at it. And why are we not good at it? We don't have an effective playbook. We're not trained for it. And who's in charge of a country's mental wellness? No one, clearly. So I'm not an expert. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just a person in business trying to do better for my company, my team, my people, myself. What do I see out there? There's no playbook. So I know what happens inside our companies if there's no playbook. You get bad results. So what do I see in America? You know, if you're mentally ill and your symptoms get you to break the law, we'll lock you up. Imagine locking up cancer patients because of their symptoms. Crazy. We don't talk about it at work. If your company's big enough to have human resources, send them to HR. We're worried. Legal issues. We can't talk about that. Let HR deal with it. It's not really an ops topic. We want to talk about sales and productivity, etc. Oh, a human being is having some serious mental distress, send them to HR. When you see the homeless person on the corner, realize that they're just your former employee that struggled with mental health, didn't get the care they needed, lost their job, couldn't pay their mortgage, slipped into homelessness, right? If we follow that all the way back, there's a way we can make a big difference. Part of the playbook is clearly, just don't say anything. Imagine my dog, when I slip, I fall, I blow out my ACL. Now picture me with the blown out ACL, no crutches, no meds, no doctor, no plan. But I have to walk around with a torn ACL and not tell anyone I'm hurt. That's fucked up. Sorry. I'm from Boston, they're just words, and I had told myself, there won't be any swearing. So the other part of the playbook is if you're educated on issues, you're educated in general, you've got money in the bank, you've got access to health care, you know what, you're going to get mental health treatment and you're going to do really pretty well with it. The outcomes can be good, you can get treatment, you can stay productive, and you can do well. So this unintentional playbook, it's getting us terrible results. I think there's a thought that it's getting better out there. Is it? Maybe. We've probably all noticed an Olympic athlete or two or a pro athlete or two. People come out and they explain they have a mental health struggle and it makes front page news and we celebrate them. I think that's good, but it makes front page news. Why is it front page news? Because it's rare. You're so brave because you stood up and said the insane pressure at 19 years old of the pro sports has sent me off the edge mentally and I can't take it and I'm going to step away for a little while. And that's so hard to say. So yes, it's getting better, but let's not fall into that trap of thinking it's getting better just because every now and then it makes the front page. And then how are we doing? We're the conscious leaders. If we graded ourselves right now, to each of us have systems inside our companies to educate on mental health, to identify the struggles of our people. Have we systematized and culturalized and normalized how we support one another with mental health inside our business? I don't need to do a survey. It's highly unlikely, even in a room of conscious leaders, that we would all give ourselves A's. I've been working on this for a decade plus inside my company, and I'm not an A or even an A minus. We're way better than we were, but we have so far to go. And if not us, who? The church? The family? The government? Nonprofits? It's not really scorn, but forgive my indictment, no chance. And whichever one of those you're waiting for to be the answer, I could tell you it doesn't work. You know how I know it doesn't work? Look around, right? If that was a solution, we'd have a solution. And so why should it be us? Aside from the fact that it's not going to be anybody else, we have huge motivation. Money. This is a global statistic from the World Health Organization. $1 trillion related to just untreated depression and anxiety. Add in substance abuse, trauma, and a variety of other serious mental health illnesses, and you can imagine what this number does. But you know, the world is too big. We can't really think about $1 trillion. Let's just think about America. Here's a big number for you. So I am certain that the biggest productivity gain that we have to capture as business leaders is to unleash the mental wellness of our people. It's to stop saying in the business world, leave your problems at the door. I mean, what an asinine thing to say. It's like take your left leg off and leave it at the door and then come in here and work your ass off. It's stupid. Now, I realize with a group of conscious leaders that we've evolved well beyond telling people to leave their problems at the door, but this isn't a message from me to you. What I'm striving for and what I'm going to conclude with soon, but I have a timer here so I know exactly how long I'm allowed to talk for, is I think that the greater business world, the entire business community in America, is what we can influence, but it has to start with a room like this. So whether your motivation is altruism or greed, I don't care, okay? I can draw you to this same conclusion that there is economic opportunity here. I want us to help our workforces shed or lighten the backpack of burdens that they are carrying around. This is just a raw baseline productivity topic. If you want someone to run from here to there, okay, and they can either do it without a 100-pound backpack on or with a 100-pound backpack on, and the goal is to get there faster, I got an idea, no heavy backpack. But what are we carrying around? Maybe not you and maybe not you, but I know me, and let's just say we. Carrying around a backpack, and in go our burdens, and in go our untreated mental health issues, and in goes our trauma, and it just gets heavier and heavier, and we get more and more tired. And our productivity, because I'm making this a business conversation, and our productivity goes down. Because we're carrying this backpack. I want us to lighten it. I'll give you another math example about just health. And by the way, mental health is just health, but that's a hard leap for people, so I'll give you what you think of as health. Every year, I pay my employees to get the flu vaccine. Don't worry, it's voluntary. We educate, we schedule flu vaccine clinics, we offer the education to their family and their roommates. The flu vaccine is, of course, given out free. We schedule multiple clinics in all of our restaurants every fall. We pay people for the time that they show up to do it. And then we give everybody a $25 gift card to Target or Amazon. No matter how many of my 1,400 people come in, get paid, and get a $25 gift card, I make more money. Less sick days, less overtime replacing the workers who are out sick, less stress on the existing team when people are out sick. So it's a proactive investment in health that gets me a payoff in productivity. Now, I could say, I also know statistically that the more people that get the flu vaccine, including their roommates or their family members, will do all of them, and I'll give them gift cards, somewhere in there, we may save some child's life or save an elderly person's life. People do die at the flu if they're healthy in middle age, but obviously less commonly. But elderly people die. So then I could say, if I'm just a raw capitalist, oh good, I don't have to pay bereavement leave while they're at the funeral, right? Now in my company, it also would mean, and that would mean we don't have to pay the funeral costs because we do nice things like that. So we can either be greedy and get to the conclusion. We can be altruistic and get to the conclusion. We can understand that mental health and physical health are just health. So if I said to you that there are investments that we can make that get us return, don't I get a collective nod? Like raise your hand. Anybody looking for a good investment that makes a return? Yeah, right? I mean, where's David Gardner? Right? I mean, isn't that what we look for, David? Right? Good returns over the long haul. The dollars make the case, but the humans make the dollars, right? So if we want to do this, we have to think about the humans. Everybody has a little phone in their pocket. We're all used to running something with an operating system. And what do you do when you have technology in your pocket? You download patches, you upgrade it. Your OS in your pocket, in your phone, has some glitches. It has opportunities to get better, to run more smoothly, to patch its problems. I've always thought that we're the same way. So humans have glitches, we can have patches. This isn't necessarily about curing me. It's not about fixing me. It's helping me be better at being me. If there's some improvement there, if there's a little cure, if there's a little progress, that's fine. But I'm not talking about replacing the OS in the human with something perfect. I want to stay me. I just want to be better at it. So you go from the idea we need a strategy, right? Strategies need playbooks. And this is really the meat of what I want to talk about. So it's, 20 minutes of setup for a few minutes of conclusion, and then I have an ask. I just want to be clear. I'm not talking about a playbook for human resources. I'm talking about a playbook for founders and CEOs and COOs. This is an ops playbook. So wherever the money is made in our companies, sales or manufacturing or service, that's the playbook that I want. I love HR professionals and I respect what they do and we need them. But they sit here and the ops and the core of a company sits here and HR supports them. They're often known as HR partners. They support them almost from the outside in. I want a playbook from the inside out. An example here is the HR department could send posters that say, that have, person that looks sad, struggling, feeling sad, call this number or use our two-way communication system inside the company and reach out. You could send those posters to all of my restaurants or all of your stores or whatever kind of company you run. And you can put those posters up. Okay, that's certainly better than nothing. But that's very different than me having my shift managers in the restaurant when they pull the servers or bartenders together in the morning, before they talk about the soup today and the fish today, and before we talk about how we're going to make our guests feel special and seen, if the manager pulls their phone out of their pocket and says, hey, I just wanted to show you guys my chat with my therapist last night. Remember everybody, the company pays for this Talkspace app. It's free access to a mental health practitioner by text or video. The company gives it all for us for free. And I just wanted to tell you, last night, I was super stressed and anxious about today. And so I was texting with my therapist. How are you feeling today? And have those kinds of conversations. And then let's talk about what's the fish of the day, right? So that's what I mean about operationalize it and put it at the core of the company as opposed to HR doing it from the side. Playbooks need goals. So I'll let you just sort of absorb this. This is the goal in our company of one of the things that we are trying to create. So this is a subjective goal. Obviously, we also need metrics and measurements. And then we got to get intentional. So I'm sharing my playbook, literally sharing. I don't know if it works for your company. I don't know if it works for your company. I hope that this idea of each of us can have a playbook that works for our company. If that's the seed that I can plant and share, then I've done my job today. And so you can imagine what my playbook does, right? It starts with what you're hearing me do today. We're making mental health a daily operational topic. We stop telling people to leave their problems at the door. And so number 3 there is really a culture statement, right? We have a two-way anonymous communication system that's app-based. Our people can use it to report things, harassment, discomfort, anything like that. But maybe more importantly, they can communicate anonymously with me and our VP of HR. Nothing wrong with HR, right? But someone's got to be on the other end of that, and then someone can stay anonymous. But at least it's not as big a step as calling the suicide prevention hotline, which can feel like a bridge that's a bit far. It's more than just reporting problems. Invest in mental health support. So we have a local therapist in the DC area, and I don't know what percentage of her practice my employees represent, but maybe half. I've got a billing system set up so that if one of my employees isn't on our health insurance, that she can just bill me directly. We'll pay for someone's first 3 sessions. So investing, spending the money, Like I said, we pay for this app, Talkspace. It's share this information. Don't just put up the poster, talk about it. If the general manager of one of your businesses or your manufacturing plant or whatever sort of thing you run, your white collar services firm, I'm a blue collar guy in the restaurant business, it's gritty. You just put up a poster, that's not enough. But if then every day when you walk by it, you're like, man, sometimes I look at that number and I think, I was feeling like I should have called it. I'm not sure if I'm suicidal, but it's also a, distressed and stressed hotline. And so we talk about it and share the resources. We don't just post them. Train management to see the signs of depression and anxiety and substance abuse, and then build a system for your management team of then what. And clearly you've heard me say I don't want the then what to necessarily be punt them to HR. HR can absolutely be a part of this, but again, I think it comes truly from the top and the inside of the company. You got to measure it, whatever objectives you want to set. We're all business people. We like the data. We like the statistics. You want to see the ROI. We got to measure it. So I'm also sharing, and my hope is that I can disseminate this presentation out to everybody. And so I've put up a little starter kit here of a playbook that any business could take and discuss with their leadership team, discuss with your line employees, whatever levels in the company you have, and start to build out your own playbooks. The metrics are really important. So this is my challenge. I would love us to be back here next year talking about 150 or 200 playbooks that are working, being explored, testing, trying, that we're struggling with, so that we could, and maybe we need to do it here, or maybe we need to do a different gathering, a Conscious Capitalism Mental Health Summit, right? I'll cater it. We could do it at one of Chip's restaurants, so I don't have to cater it. There's lots of food, right? If we all did this, and then we could combine and publish this open source for the large complete business community, I think we could make a huge difference on America's workforce productivity. See, there's a business case. It happens to not be my motive, but I promise there is a business case. Everybody already thinks about stakeholder capitalism. That's what this room is about. Everybody already sees their employees as a stakeholder. I'm theorizing here that we could extract the health out of our employees and see it as a standalone stakeholder, so that we could remind ourselves, not are we taking care of our employees, but for their health and wellness, are we investing in it, protecting it, advocating for it, and measuring it? Because when we do this, this is what happens. On the left, I think is just like the standard non-playbook. Human operating system's got a little glitches, the workforce just keeps working, the glitches are there. But if we take the workforce and the brain that we all have, and in my case, damaged, glitchy, issues, and we run a playbook to improve it, not cure it, just to help me be better at being me, it's a workforce multiplier. And business can elevate humanity. Humanity can elevate business. I'm done.